What's going on? What's going on, everyone? This is your man, Real Deal, Steele, coming to you live this Tuesday night, out of sight. What is good, folks? Good to see you. Sorry, I'm just readjusting the chart. Give me a moment here. It's looking a little squirrely, looking a little funny. It's not supposed to look like that. So give me a moment here, and we will adjust it. Why don't we put the dog money chart up? It looks like Binance changed their charting format just today. So there we go. Okay. And we're riding right at about 17 cents for the Doge. You are watching Steven Steele Live, of course. I am Steven Steele. It's great to have you with us tonight, and got a great show lined up for you tonight. Great show. So we are going to get down to it, poppers. We're going to get down to it. Before we get started, if I could just ask you guys to hit that like button. And I also realized my camera wasn't on, so sorry about that. Sorry, a little bit of a rocky start. We haven't had a rocky start in a long time. We haven't had any technical difficulties in a long time. And there we go. We're back on the screen, if you know what I mean. We are doing it to it. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, who do we got up in the chat tonight? We've got 7-1. We've got Zombie Doge Armor. We got Alan Schneider. We got Mama Crypto. Truckin' Old Ace, starting things off with a super chat, $10 super chat with some KO Hippo action. Truck all day. Thank you for your continued support of the channel. Super appreciate you, man. Thank you for that. Got Marie. Good to see you, Marie Potter. Who else? We got me, you, Michael Miller, Slayblaze, Larry Ramirez, Keith Havens, Mama Crypto, of course. Thanks for holding it down as usual. Josh Randell, Disavows. Good to see you back in the mix, sir. Who else am I missing that's active right now? Oh yeah, Diamond Hands Freddy. How could we forget Diamond Hands Freddy? Good to see you, sir. I think I covered everyone that's active in the chat right now. The rest are probably lurkers. Jason Huffman in the mix, of course. Can't forget Jason Huffman. No way. So yeah, got an interesting show lined up for you guys. Great to see you guys back. If you haven't smashed that like button, make sure you do that already. If you haven't already subscribed and you're new here, I'd like to personally welcome you. You're watching Steven Steele Live. I'm Steven Steele. And we've got an awesome community here. I want you to be a part of it. So hit subscribe, hit all on that notification bell. Ascend with us to the moon, Mars, and beyond. Also, if you feel compelled to super chat anywhere throughout the duration of this broadcast, it's obviously hugely appreciated for all the time and efforts put forth. And feel free to ask me whatever questions or comments, and I'll field them to the best of my ability. Lastly, if you're not already a member, you might want to consider doing so. It's just $4 a month. The entry tier is just $4 a month, just $1 a week. You can become a member by simply clicking the link pinned at the top of the chat. RW, good to see you. Seb Caro, good to see you in the mix as well. Let's get to the first story of the night. This comes courtesy of FX Street. Dogecoin needs to move above 20 cents to avoid bear market. A brief technical on-chain analysis on Dogecoin price. FX Street's analysis evaluate where Doge could be headed next, and they break it down. So pretty much what we're looking at right now, and I had actually concur with their most recent conclusion from FX Street technical analysis team. Doge 20 cents is kind of the threshold that I'm seeing for Doge to be able to really get some legs and get moving again. The good news is if Doge can get above 20 cents, I think that makes all the way up to 30 cents a pretty high probability, a pretty high likelihood from everything I'm seeing here. So I still don't take off the table that we could see Doge upwards of 30 cents within the next 4 weeks here, even less within the next 2 weeks. I still leave that on the table. I still think that's a decent probability of happening. I'd say I wouldn't say we are in a bear market in totality as it relates to Bitcoin down, but things are stagnated. And things aren't really moving, and it's been that way for over a month now. But I do think that's going to turn around. I think that's going to turn around in the near future. I'm still very bullish about what's to come in 2022 across the board, and I'm still very bullish about the first quarter of this year that we have just started less than a week ago, just a few days ago. But I think once the paper hands get shaken out and we start ascending again, I think it's a fair probability that we could see the sorts of ascensions that we have never seen, frankly. Particularly as it relates to Dogecoin, for a number of reasons that I've gone over on this show time and time again. Now, next story up. 10 cryptocurrencies Redditors are buying for 2022 and beyond. Yahoo Finance is reporting. And this is pretty interesting, actually. This is a pretty interesting list to kind of keep an eye on for fun because, crypto Reddit has really had a pretty prophetic track record, shall we say. And now it's not without its flaws like anything else. But so it's interesting to keep an eye on what Reddit's talking about and where they're seeing what they see as the top 10 biggest earners for 2022. So I'm just going to blow past them really quick. One is at number 10 is Helium. Now, Helium is used to power a network of internet-enabled devices that kind of act as hotspots for a Decentraland wireless infrastructure. So I know it's a little bit wordy, but it's directly related to the Metaverse scene, and I actually see this as a utility that could catch on pretty quickly, respectively, within, well, for lack of a better term, Web3. So I'd say that's a pretty good pick. Flux. Flux is also basically a DeFi Metaverse-related cryptocurrency. Filecoin. I've been hearing about Polkadot coming in at number 7. You guys need no introduction to Polkadot. And then LivePeer. That's an internet streaming cryptocurrency that's, stands to benefit is users shift towards decentralized services and runs on a decentralized video network. I've never heard of LivePeer before. Are there only 6 on this list? I thought it was 10. Yeah, it says 10. What the heck? Okay, 7. 6. Oh gosh. You got to clip over to the page. I hate when they break it up that way. No, they don't. Well, there you go, guys. We don't have the top 10. We basically have the top 5 or the top 6. It's an error in the article. The top 6 Reddit investments predicted for 2022. Make of it what you will, folks. Make of it what you will. Anyway, moving right along. Cointelegraph reports Bitcoin dips below 47K as U.S. dollar surge dampens Bitcoin's price performance. It's not looking great for Bitcoin on short time frames, and Ethereum is becoming an increasingly popular bet instead. And we are seeing this more and more. And so what have I been saying? I've been saying this for a long time. I've actually been saying this since I started making content about a year ago. Don't count out Ethereum to take that number 1 spot from Bitcoin. And, I kind of got laughed at for having that perspective, but I think it's looking less and less like a fringe concept. It's a fringe idea, right? As we go forward here, lots of traditionally Bitcoin investors have been aping into Ethereum over the past few months, and we are seeing the volume on Ethereum is absolutely astounding on a day-to-day basis right now. So we could see the flipping of Bitcoin much sooner than any of us would have anticipated, frankly. Now, do I think that in the event that would happen, do I think Bitcoin would slip lower than a number 2 spot? Highly, highly unlikely. In fact, I think the most likely scenario would be to see both Bitcoin and Ethereum kind of toggling back and forth, right, between first and second. Now, a really good indication of what I'm talking about here is Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. He was just interviewed by Forbes not so long ago, and he was saying that his biggest positions are now in Ethereum over Bitcoin. And now when a guy like Kevin O'Leary is jumping the boat to ape all in on Ethereum more than Bitcoin, that really says something. That's kind of he represents a sentiment of the investment class that I just referenced, right? Anyway, let's see what's going on in the chat. Howdy, Stephen. Howdy, Mr. Lynn. Good to see you in the chat, guys. Great to see a bunch of members in here. Doge Scotland, good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Diamond Hands Freddy says he's more of a shadow dancer kind of guy. I'll be your shadow dancer. Shadow dancer. Harmony One, I think, could do big things this year. Harmony One. Someone was talking about Harmony One in the chat. I think, I think Harmony One is poised to do pretty good things this year. Anyway, I don't want to go in deeper into that anymore, but I will say this. I still stick to that initial threshold that I was talking about a few nights ago on this show. From everything that I'm seeing, the threshold point on Bitcoin is around 51,000, 51.5. If we can see Bitcoin ascend up to 51,000 and 51.5, anywhere in there, I think that could really spur a serious bull run that will have a cascading effect all the way down from the top 20 to the DeFi markets, low market cap scenario. So, Cointelegraph reporting, unlocking utility is key for fashion brands launching NFTs in 2022. I'm just going to read a paragraph of what they wrote on this and I'll give my thoughts, okay? 2021 may have been a year for fashion NFTs, but 2022 will require brands to launch NFTs with utility behind them to move the idea forward. Non-fungible tokens have become one of the most discussed markets in the crypto space this year. A recent report from Cointelegraph found that NFT sales are aiming for a 17.7 billion record by the end of 2021, and we accomplished that. It came in at about 18,000. This may very well be the case as a number of mainstream brands have become launching NFTs, according to recent research from Bain & Company, the online luxury fashion platform. Far-fetched digital interactions with customers are becoming increasingly important for brands. Anyway, I bring this up because I talked about this yesterday when I was on the air too. I think going forward in 2022, as it relates to the NFT market, there's the bar has been raised much higher for what investors are seeking now, whereas 2021 was much more of like a Wild West scenario, and there were many successful projects that took off solely based on its artwork and very little else about it. I think those days are over, with the exception if you're already a very well-established kind of famous artist or a celebrity in any fashion. And we're going to get to that next, actually. We're going to get to that next, who that is that I wanted to talk about tonight, who I think is a quintessential example of this. But outside of that, you are going to see a huge pivot towards emphasis on utility with NFTs. And I believe 2022, you're really going to start to see the NFT scene and industry really dig its heels into the entertainment industry, between bands, musicians, professional sports teams, and things of this nature. And I think we're going to start to see the utility packages really find themselves in 2022. And the bar is getting much more raised now, where investors are becoming more savvy. And so they are demanding, and I hope this is the case because I think this is a healthy thing, more commitment on what the post-mint plans are. Because so many times throughout 2021, as it relates to NFT collections, we saw a lot of promises and very little follow-through, right, on various popular NFT collections roadmaps, right? And this was a very common thing that happened in 2021, where once these 8,000 to 12,000 piece collections got minted, then pretty much the team goes AWOL, and that's no good for investors, provided anyway that you promise them a roadmap, right? Provided you promise them a roadmap, number one. Number two, there are exceptions to this rule, so I want you guys to keep this in mind too, respectfully, with your NFT investments. There are exceptions to this rule, and those exceptions are such as follows. If the person spearheading the NFT project is a celebrity or somebody that's fairly well-renowned, even among the crypto scenes or NFT scenes, and they're not promising you this big elaborate roadmap, I've seen projects like that heighten and raise in value exponentially just based off of the art and the reputation of the person that they have built before they even started a project. So I would say that's one of the rare exceptions where an NFT project can still do really well despite having little or no roadmap. So just keep that in mind. I think a really good example of that actually is Billy Marcus with his blocky Doge lines that are both doing really well. He does blocky Doge, and then he did a second release of an NFT line called Blocky Doge Guides, and both of them are doing really well, particularly the original Blocky Doge line. The floor is really high, and Blocky Doge Guides recently just announced that they are partnering with the Doge Pound. So going forward, I think Blocky Doge Guides, Billy Marcus's second NFT project, I think has a really good probability of doing very big things, particularly as it relates to its market value going forward, as we're seeing this partnership between the Doge Pound and Blocky Doge. Very interesting relationship that has been forged there. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Got a couple super chats. Jason Huffman coming in tonight. All right, I love it. Thank you for the $5, my man. We've got the bang stun. Everybody bang stun tonight. $5 make it holler. Doge will hit $1 tomorrow. I love the optimism. Saying every day, one day I will be right. Hey, listen, I agree with you. If you keep saying it every day, one day it will be right. And there's something about creating a positive confession, speaking things into existence, right? My father's a preacher, actually, and he talks a lot about this principle of speaking things into existence. And I think that there's something very powerful behind it, because once you let it leave your mouth, it becomes more of a reality. It becomes truer for you, right? And it keeps your vision and your focus towards what it is that you desire to happen, right? So I think words can be very powerful. I think positive confessions can be very powerful. Anyway, next one up, guys. Next story up. Rollingstone.com is reporting. So Ozzy Osbourne just yesterday announced his first NFT collection, and it's going to be called, guess what it's going to be called, folks? Crypto Bats, because of course it is. If you're starting an NFT line spearheaded by the great Ozzy Osbourne, of course it has to involve bats, right? It has to involve bats. The Prince of Darkness has entered the world of crypto, Rolling Stone reports. He will unveil nearly 10,000 unique NFT bats on January 20th, a knowing nod to the infamous moment he bit the head off of a bat during a 1982 performance in Des Moines, Iowa. I don't know if that was ever confirmed to be a reality or if it was a stage prop. I think it was. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that was ever confirmed that was a stage prop or if that actually transpired. The news first announced by Rolling Stone UK, created by Osbourne himself. The new collection will be available to purchase next month and brings an innovative first world feature to the NFT market. According to an official release, each crypto bat will give each collectors a unique opportunity to birth an additional NFT, activating features that will allow their purchases to bite and mutate another NFT to their digital wallet, known as mutant bats. This is very interesting. The pioneering feature will subsequently allow users to combine the attributes of two separate projects, making mutant bats a rare offering for NFT collections. So far, the likes of Bored Ape Yacht Club, Supducks, and Crypto Toads, and a fourth mystery name have all teamed up for the combinations of NFTs as a part of their projects. I can't help but even talk about this project without hearing one of my favorite Ozzy Osbourne songs, Bark at the Moon. That song just gets me hyped, man. So this is one of the first NFT collections that personally, by the way, I'm not sponsored by this project. I have no stake in the game, but it's just interesting. It's one of the first NFT projects that's come along in a bit that I've just genuinely found interesting. I think, and judging by how much the Discord is popping off in this project, I think there are over 50,000 members already, and that those chats move a mile a minute. A lot of passion over there, some very bullish signals. The team seems to be very on top of all this stuff. Plus, I think there's a pretty decent probability this collection does very well. It wouldn't surprise me that in the future that CryptoBats holders are going to have some extra benefits in terms of perhaps Ozzy concerts or Ozzy related concerts or festivals, things of this nature, merchandise, all this stuff. And Ozzy has built up such a legacy over the decades that I think it stands to reason that being a CryptoBats holder could put you in a very elusive, exclusive, interesting kind of club. And plus, Ozzy is just a very eccentric, interesting character. So this project, I think, is pretty cool. I think it's pretty interesting from what I've seen of it thus far. I'm speaking Doge Fam Vegas meetup into existence, says Mama Crypto. Yes, we've discussed this in the past, and I'm absolutely open to it, you guys. We're talking about all meeting up in Vegas. In fact, we just had a show. Get this, folks. We just had a show on last week wherein one of our regular viewers is actually a fellow named Jesse Hughes, who is the lead guitarist and predominant songwriter of a pretty popular rock and roll band called the Eagles of Death Metal. I'm sure some of you may have heard of them. Anyway, he's a pretty regular viewer of the show. I don't see him here tonight, but he said that he would be open to having the Eagles of Death Metal play for this event that we are talking about putting on in Vegas. How massive would that be? How incredible would that be? I think that would be just super awesome, super epic. So be on the lookout for that, guys, because I'm talking about doing like some, I don't know if I'm going to make it like the Doge, once Doge reaches $1, or just do it sooner than that. But I'm still conceptualizing what this weekend would look like. But it's going to be in Las Vegas. And we'll see where it goes from there. Peter, good to see you. Peter says, when Steele coin? People have asked me in the past, when are you going to start your own crypto? And I got to admit, although Steele coin, I love the way it sounds, folks. I love the way it sounds. I just don't have an interest in starting a cryptocurrency at this time. It's just a lot of stress that I don't need. Bankstun says, Ozzy rules. Mama, I'm Coming Home is one of my favorites. Yeah, that's a great song. I think some of my favorites are I Don't Know, Bark at the Moon, and I'm just kind of drawing a blank right now. Well, Crazy Train, of course, goes without saying, but I like a lot of the 80s Ozzy with Randy Rhoads. Anyway. Let's see what. So anyway, let me kind of. And there's some previews actually on the CryptoBats, and they're that kind of highly pixelated, pretty adorable actually, pixelated bats with different, of course, detailing and rarities that will, I'm sure, to come out and be unrolled in that fashion. Ozzy's foray into the world of NFTs comes at the end of the year, in which the format has embraced some of the world's biggest musicians. Kings of Leon released their latest album. When You See Yourself in NFT form upon its March release, while Grimes auctioned off 10 pieces of original artwork under the umbrella War Nymph Collection Volume 1 that had sold for tens of thousands each. I've been trying to get in on the NFT action for a while, so when I asked Sharon for... This is a direct quote from Ozzy, by the way, which is hilarious. This is a direct quote from Ozzy. I've been trying to get in on the NFT action for a while, so when I asked Sharon for a Bored Ape for Christmas after several failed attempts of buying my own, she said no. I decided to create my own. And Ozzy said in a statement, CryptoBats is a effing mental project for NFT collectors and fans. The design pays tribute to one of my most iconic on-stage moments and is a chance to acquire a rare piece of art history. I love it. So I'm going to continue to monitor this project. I think it's interesting. Probably most notably because I personally like Ozzy Osbourne, and I dig his music, and the art looks pretty good. And the team, so far, anyway, it looks pretty solid behind it. Now, next up, guys. This article comes courtesy of Maca.com, Elon Musk's 2022 predictions. And this is what I had in the title. So this is the title story for the evening. Elon Musk gives his 2022 predictions regarding cryptocurrency, drugs, and humanoids. Oh boy, oh boy. Elon Musk has predicted that cryptocurrencies will become much more popular across the world, as he made the case that these currencies are more reliable than today's currencies because they are controlled by a network. At the moment, a few oligarchs control the foundations of money, Elon said. The Tesla CEO touched on energy demand as another potential problem, predicting that energy demand will double in a few years' time. Elon Musk suggested alternatives that are already being considered, such as nuclear energy. And drugs was also a topic that Elon Musk touched on, as he claimed that both society and the legal system will become more permissive with the consumption of psychoactive drugs. I'm not sure if that's good or bad, folks. I mean, as far as it relates to the Mary Jane, you know, there's certainly a good argument can be made that a lot of tax dollars are wasted, particularly locking up people for that sort of stuff. But it just depends. Psychoactive drugs covers a lot of different ones. As he looked towards the future, Elon specifically envisions robotic humanoids soon being a part of our lives, as he demonstrated with his plans earlier with his decision to take very seriously a Tesla AI robot that's kind of looks like an uncanny valley kind of situation. And from what I understand, the first predominant goals and objectives of the Tesla AIs is to get them to do and complete successfully and efficiently simple, boring tasks like dishes and things of that nature. So yeah, I mean, that would be cool, right? If you had a robot to do all that stuff. But I think at first it's going to be very unnerving to see these things walking around. Elon Musk finished by highlighting the relevance of his Starlink technology in the future, and saying he says that the satellite internet will be key to giving people in rural areas access to the internet at high connection speeds. And folks, this is going to have a massive effect on cryptocurrency, because Starlink is going to basically be able to offer the entire world Wi-Fi globally, which is just an astounding thing to accomplish. And those are a lot more future investors, okay? Future investors in Dogecoin, future investors in Bitcoin, future investors in AVAX, etc., etc. Jason Huffman coming in large and in charge with Big Doge Energy. I love it. Thank you so much, Jason, for the $50 make a holler. Thank you so much. 50 for the 50 people in here right now. Smash that like button, subscribe. I love it. Jason, thank you so much for your continued support of the show. It's literally people like Jason that allow me and enable me to do this show as much as I do, or else I wouldn't be able to do it. So thank you so much, Jason. Appreciate you so much. Appreciate you, man. Jason Huffman coming in large and in charge. So, yeah, so I think, and also I talked about this, I think the show before last, on the latest Dogecoin 2022 roadmap. Of course, the Dogecoin Foundation refers to it as a trail map, potato, that one of the objectives, one of the projects that the Dogecoin developers are working on is working with Elon Musk, working with Starlink, okay, for some integration there. Just absolutely wild. I mean, I talked about it on Twitter. It got some legs on Twitter, and thank goodness, because I think it's pretty underreported on it. Pretty underreported on it. I think this is pretty incredible news. Pretty big news coming down the pike. I am incredibly impressed with how the Dogecoin Foundation has conducted themselves over the last year. Not only reviving the institution, but really super stepping up to the plate with some clear leadership, clear objectives, and now for the first time ever, there is a Dogecoin roadmap for the year, and it's incredibly ambitious, folks. So I am so looking forward to seeing that transpire. I mean, this is massive news. You're talking about the Dogecoin developers working with Elon Musk and Starlink on Doge integration in 2022. And this is going to allow transactions worldwide for likely at zero cost or close to it, folks. Anyway, let's see what's going on in the chat. I think I'm caught up with what you all are talking about. Anyway, if you're new here, you're watching Steven Steele Live. I'm Steven Steele. Feel free to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Ascend with us to the moon, Mars, and beyond. Frankly, we've got an awesome community here. I think we have the best community in all of the crypto-centric YouTube channels. I know I'm a bit biased, but we really do have. We may not be the biggest channel, but I think we have the best community here, hands down. Jason Huffman coming in with a $3 make you holler. Appreciate the thumbs up, sir. Thank you for keeping the lights on over here at Steven Steele HQ, and I mean that quite literally, folks. I mean that quite literally. Next story. I'm sure this is one, unless you've been living under a rock, you've already heard about this. Joe Rogan encouraging folks to move to a new social media app that's essentially a Twitter rival. Comedian and podcast titan Joe Rogan is encouraging an exodus from Twitter to an alternative social media platform called Getter, following the company's decision to ban the accounts of Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Join me on Getter, Rogan wrote in his tweet, which sounded like Getter.com profile, to his almost 8 million Twitter followers, causing Getter to trend on Twitter. Ironically, Getter is a relatively new social media platform that launched July 4th. It's founded by Jason Miller. Getter says it is a brand new social media platform founded on the principles of free speech, independent thought, and rejecting political censorship and cancel culture, it says on its website. So Joe Rogan's tweet and promotion of Getter came the same day as Twitter banned the personal account of Greene. Twitter says Greene was, I don't want to discuss that for terms of service reasons here. I think it's an interesting trajectory. So Getter, I've heard of it, but I didn't really engage with it all. I am on Getter, just so you guys know. If you just look up Steven Steele, I am on there. I haven't really posted anything yet, but I'm kind of just placeholding it. I'll probably slowly become more active there. It additionally to my current platforms. Why not? Simple enough. It's simple enough. Next story, folks. Now, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. This comes courtesy of Futurism.com. Facebook hosted 3 huge concerts in the Metaverse, and they seriously flopped. Well, Facebook's Metaverse is off to a depressing start. Meta, aka the artist formerly known as Facebook, announced a slate of big-name virtual reality concerts set to take place entirely on its Horizon Venues Metaverse last month. The star-studded lineup included rapper Young Thug on December 26th, DJ David Guetta on the 31st, and finally EDM duo The Chainsmokers for the New Year's Eve concert to ring in the new year. The only problem is not many people noticed, and those who didn't really seem to care. What did I tell you, folks? Despite being completely free, these were free concerts on Mark Zuckerberg's Metaverse. The concert seemed to get incredibly little traction or notice from anyone outside of the Meta offices. There was barely even mention of the performances on social media platforms like Twitter or even Facebook, let alone on the news and music publications. It probably wasn't helped by the fact that concerts were barely optimized for VR experience. Guetta just had a 2D live stream video of his performance at the Louvre in Dubai. Meanwhile, Young Thug and the Chainsmokers offered just an 180-degree view of their concerts for Oculus users only. Now, what have I been telling you about this? I have been having a sneaking suspicion since Facebook changed its name to Meta that this is not a foregone conclusion recipe for success. And what did I tell you? In fact, I told you just as recently as yesterday on this show that there's a pretty decent probability particularly in 2022, that the rebranding of Facebook is going to flop. And now we are already seeing it flop, guys. Flop big time. Three of the biggest, most popular names in music couldn't muster a turnout at all. So just be careful up there. I'm not saying that the metaverse isn't going to continually evolve and be a more significant part of our lives and society. I think it will. But the idea that Mark Zuckerberg is going to be the one person that's most successful with it, and that it's going to happen almost instantaneously, is absolutely absurd, in my opinion. And now we are seeing that come into fruition. And honestly, do we really want to give that much power, much more power, over to the Zuck than he already has on us? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse. I'm a fan of the general concept of metaverse, but with Zuckerberg at the helm of it, no thanks. I'm good. Here's a nice story. Here's a very nice story. Keanu Reeves donates 70%. Yeah, 70% of his Matrix salary to cancer research. Wow. There aren't many celebrities who are beloved by anyone, regardless of political party. The late, great Betty White was one of them. Keanu Reeves is another of one of these rare gems in entertainment, and now fans have another reason to adore the eclectic actor who most recently starred in the newest installment of the Matrix franchise. It's just been made public that the 57-year-old Canadian-raised actor donated a whopping 70% of his original Matrix salary to cancer research in honor of his younger sister. According to Lad Bible, Reeves was paid $10 million for the 1999 original Matrix up front and earned an additional $35 million over time. The altruistic actor pledged $31.5 million total of that sum to exclusively leukemia research. This really hits home for Keanu Reeves because his sister Kim has been battling leukemia for the last 8 years. And she was diagnosed initially in the early 90s and then went into remission more recently. So, as if we already needed another excuse to like Keanu Reeves. Pretty much everyone on the planet likes Keanu Reeves. It's a pretty difficult guy not to like. And so now we have another reason for everyone to come together under the banner of Keanu. I remember seeing Keanu. He had a hard rock band way back in the day. I'm aging myself a bit here, but they were called Dogstar. And Dogstar got booked at this thing called Metal Fest, and it was mostly metal and thrash music, and throughout the entire 2-day experience. And for some reason, Dogstar got booked there, and they absolutely got blasted and booed. I felt really bad for him, man. He took a lot of heat from that crowd. And that was actually very shortly after the Bill and Ted's thing. It was maybe 3 or 4 years after Bill and Ted's came out. Not that long. Boy, oh boy, guys. I got another doozy of a story. This is a real story, by the way. Let me preface this. I double-checked it. This is real. This is not what I'm about to describe to you. What I'm about to read to you is not parody, folks. This is a real story. And some of you may recall that not so long ago, last week, in fact, I covered a story in which a young lady, a reality TV star, was making a living selling her compartmentalized farts in jars and selling them for like $1,000 a piece. And there was a strong demand for these, which is absolutely, in my opinion, just absolutely disgusting. And a sorry state of Western civilization, in my opinion. Anyway, that woman, her name is Steph Mato, 31 years old, from Connecticut. And she rose to fame on the A&E, what is that program like? Yeah, Married and Fiancé in 90 Days. One of those. Yeah, 90 Day Fiancé. My goodness. And it didn't work out for her on that TV show. Go figure. I bet the guy that decided not to marry her and tie the knot on 90 Day Fiancé, he's watching all this right now and just from home going, whew, I made the right choice. Anyway, here's the story, guys, without any further ado. Woman who made $37,000 a week selling farts, hospitalized for trying to fart too much. This is a real story. A reality star who made $200,000 from farting in jars has now announced her retirement after she was rushed to the hospital for squeezing out one too many. Steph Matto recently found herself in A&E with symptoms of a heart attack after experiencing shooting pains in her chest. Concerned doctors performed blood tests and electrocardiogram, but later told the 90 Day Fiancé star that the symptoms were actually caused by excess gas from her frequent diet of beans, eggs, and banana protein shakes. Ugh. Speaking about the moment she took ill, Steph said, "I thought I was having a stroke, and these were my final moments. I was overdoing it." She began selling her farts in a jar in November of last year and received many requests. Why? The only thing I find more absurd than this woman selling these is that there's guys out there buying them for $1,000 a pop. I mean, this is... Who are these people? In the words of Seinfeld, who are these people? Goodness gracious, good grief. Ugh. The unique product saw her rake in the cash at $1,000 per jar. Steph even offered a 50% discount during a festive period. Well, that's very altruistic of her. To keep up with the demand, which she saw her squeeze out up to 50 jars worth of farts a week, the self-proclaimed fartrepreneur. Okay, that's funny. That's funny. That's a funny word. Fartrepreneur opted for a fiber-high diet, living off beans and eggs. She later added protein shakes in the mix after discovering it made the farts smell worse. Oh, God. This is disgusting. And there's a picture of her, too, in the hospital with blankets over with her, just her eyes peeking out. Oh, I'm so sneaky. So sneaky. Blah. I can't look at this woman the same ever again. Reliving the lead up to the hospital visit, Steph said, "I remember one day that I had about 3 protein shakes and a huge bowl of black bean soup. I could tell that something was not right that evening. And when I was lying in bed, I could feel the pressure on my stomach moving upward. It was quite hard to breathe. And every time I tried to breathe, and I'd feel a pinching sensation around my heart. And then that, of course, made my anxiety escalate. I called a friend and asked if they could come over to drive me to the hospital because I thought I was experiencing a heart attack. I ended up going to the hospital that evening. I didn't tell my doctors about the farting in the jar because I did tell them, but I did tell them about my diet." And of course, she had a friend on hand to take a bunch of selfies of her seeking treatment in the hospital for gas, which she mistook as a heart attack. Another direct quote from her. "I think that certain foods produce better smelling farts, so I tend to go with the smoothies as opposed to things such as cabbage and eggs." Okay. Despite the financial success, the reception of her unique business venture has been divided. There've been a lot of people praising me, she said, calling me a girl boss. Oh yeah, such a girl boss. Telling me that I inspire them to be unashamed of who they are and what they do. Time out. Now, I'm an open-minded guy, and I don't think you should shame people for life choices. A lot of life choices. I'm not about that. I'm not about going on my way. Let's say you're a dancer at a club or something like that. Whatever. That's fine. That's fine. But we are talking about a woman selling farts in a jar and shipping them all over the world and making a living doing that. I think ridicule is in order, and it's fair. I don't think this is something we should normalize. It's weird, and it's gross, and that's why it's funny. If it gets to the point in our society that, people selling farts in a jar is normalized, I think it's a very bad sign. I think that's a very bad sign. I think it's the sign of the apocalypse, guys, frankly. Anyway, let's see what's going on in the chat here. I'm sure you guys have a few thoughts on this. You couldn't pay me to take the jar. And that's what I'm saying. Guys are paying $1,000 a jar for this stuff. And then what do? You get it in the mail and you open it up and you just go, ah. And then that moment's gone like 60 seconds later. You're paying $1,000 for that experience. $1,000 for that experience. I don't know if somebody could pay me $1,000 to experience that. You'd have to pay me $1,000 just to experience that. And even at that, I don't think I would do it. I wouldn't do it. You couldn't pay me $1,000 to smell this reality star's farts. Her egg, what is it? Her egg protein shake banana farts. I'm good. It reminds me of that meme where it's this different stages of evolution, and then we get to the current state of man, and he says, "Go back. We messed up. We messed up. Go back." Go back. Alan says, ought to look at yourself in the mirror if you're buying farts. Yes. Could you imagine getting that in the mail and being such a pathetic simp that you actually paid a woman $1,000 to fart in a jar and to get it in the mail? I mean, could you even tell anyone about that? And then you got to be a secret creep about it. You got to look around. Oh, nobody knows that in this UPX box lies the fart of reality TV star Stephanie Matto. And when no one's around, I'm gonna open it up in my apartment and huff it. Can you imagine what that looks like? Can you imagine what the average consumer looks like participating in this? What is going on in the world, guys? What is going on? My goodness. I don't know if you guys heard about this. This is actually a big story, and it just broke today. Turkish police arrest 40 Twitch money laundering. Sorry, I'm totally screwing up this headline. Turkish police arrest 40 in Twitch money laundering scandal. So 40 prominent Twitch streamers were arrested today. An alleged credit card scam was exposed last year on the Twitch leak. Last year, Twitch leak had some unexpected outcomes, and one of them, most striking, was how it exposed an alleged scam involving certain Turkish streamers and money laundering. The scandal was big enough to catch the eye of Turkish politician Gürsel Tekin and Vice President of the Republic's People Party, who in November called the country's Financial Crimes Investigation Board to conduct an investigation. The newspaper Daily Sabah had released a report just today that the Turkish police arrested 40 Twitch streamers across 11 provinces in the country, and 4 suspects remain at large. They're on the run. The Turkish government's chief prosecutor's office is running the investigation, and unspecified documents and digital materials were seized as part of the raids. The alleged scam involved using stolen credit cards to pay. Okay, get this. This is what they were doing. The alleged scam involved using stolen credit cards to pay certain streamers in bits, a Twitch currency that streamers get paid for receiving. The streamers who agreed to take part in the alleged money laundering accepted enormous amounts of bits, and when they were paid, the streamer kept the share and returned the rest to its source. Naughty. Many other prominent Twitch stars from the country have been linked to the scandal, though the Turkish authorities have not yet named those arrested in those latest raids. They did, however, specify that some of the suspects are minors. Oopsie. I've never been a big fan of Twitch personally. it's pretty much dominated by what's become known as the vernacular or the slang Twitch thoughts. It's usually scantily dressed young ladies with like kids pools in their bedrooms, hanging out and spinning a wheel, right? Will Simps just drool at them like for 6 hours a day instead of actually learning how to approach a woman in real life. Anyway, next up, guys. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Firstly, do we think Doge will hit $1 before March? Good to see you back in the mix, Manju. I think it's a fair probability that Doge could get to $1 before March. Now, that's not too far away. So I wouldn't say it's a high probability, but I would give it a moderate probability of that taking place, Manju. Don't forget, the first quarter of 2021 has big things happening for Dogecoin. Most notably, the Robinhood wallets are coming, which Robinhood, 30% of all Dogecoin holders are on Robinhood, right? Secondly, the Doge 1 space exploration mission to the moon. It's literally going to take a Dogecoin to the moon, okay? And just the very nature of that project is like the biggest free advertising you could ever hope for. And you know, that's going to be a huge story. And so many people across the globe are going to be watching that. Yeah, and then we've got Tesla Dogecoin integration. I believe that's right around the corner. I believe there's going to be full Tesla Dogecoin integration by the end of the first quarter of this new year here. And now we've already had an announcement from Elon Musk not so long ago, right, on Twitter, where he said that Dogecoin is going to be accepted for select merchandise, okay, on Tesla. And I think that's this trial balloon he's floating out there. And then I think full Dogecoin integration will come shortly thereafter. I think that's going to have an absolutely cascading effect on the market, cascading effect on the perception of Dogecoin. And I think a lot of very big money investors that have been sitting on the fence and just observing Dogecoin from a little bit of a distance, once they see that happen, I think that's just the main final cue that they need to really jump in. We could see absolutely extraordinary results by the end of first quarter of 2022 for Dogecoin, including $1. I think it's on the table, guys. I think it's on the table. Diamond Hands Freddy says, I want more Doge. I'm still buying. I'm not selling. Diamond Hands Freddy also says, Steven Steele, best thing on YouTube. I love it. Thank you for that, Diamond Hands Freddy. Appreciate you. You guys, I love you guys. I appreciate your guys' support. Vilex, good to see you. A couple new names in the chat. Says this is the best. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. By the way, if you're new here, you've been watching Steven Steele Live. I'm your host, Steven Steele. Make sure you hit the subscribe and the notification bell. We have a good time here. Honestly, I think we have the funnest crypto-centric YouTube channel on the platform, and we've got the community to show for it. And also, we are putting together a huge weekender party in Vegas. I will have dates. We're still just conceptualizing it. And hopefully we can have Eagles of Death Metal to play that bash. So, these are things you need to stay dialed in with the community to know what's going on. I think I'm caught up on what's going on in the chat. Keith Evans says, Keith Haven says, I saw one of my biker's girlfriends on Sick and Twisted, and she was a fart girl. I never said an effing word. I don't even particularly like the word fart. I think it's very, I don't know, uncouth. Anyway, let's get on with it. This comes courtesy of the Babylon Bee. Now, those of you who don't know, just a disclaimer, Babylon Bee is a parody website, a parody news website. So this isn't real. These are joke stories. But Babylon Bee reports just today, Dave Chappelle apologizes for photograph with unfunny friend Patton Oswalt. And those of you who've followed this story understand the humor behind it. Los Angeles, California, Patton Oswalt has issued an apology for appearing in a photograph of noted transphobe Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle has also responded to fierce backlash from his own fan base and issued an apology for appearing in a photograph with a very unfunny friend, Patton Oswalt. I apologize to the many people I heard, says Chappelle. It was insensitive for a comedian of my caliber to appear in a picture with someone as gravely unfunny as Patton Oswalt. I was not aware of the deep pain I was causing. I'm always learning, and I'll strive to do better in the future. We are glad Chappelle has expressed his commitment to do better, but this is not enough, Candy Krugstein said, an activist for protecting funny comedy. We needed to know that Chappelle is committed to being funny, and it will not allow his comedic genius to be further tainted by mediocre joke tellers like Patton Oswalt. Obviously, this is a parody lampooning, the nature of woke culture and cancel culture. So pretty well done there, Babylon B. And let's see what's going on in the chat. I quite like Dave Chappelle personally. So Dogecoin, whether it's Dogecoin or whether it's Bitcoin, it's all trading sideways, pretty unremarkably, all the way up to Bitcoin, all the way down to the low market cap gems. So I don't really expect a lot over the next few days. I think we can expect this kind of trading action going into the weekend. However, from what I'm seeing, Monday or Tuesday could be a big breakout day for Bitcoin. Look for that 51.5 threshold. When you start to see Bitcoin go in that direction and achieve 51,000, 51.5, there's a very high probability, folks, that you're going to see a cascading effect from the top 20 coins all the way down to the red light district coins. Now, just keep in mind, it doesn't take very long for the top 20 cryptocurrencies to respond in kind to an ascension in Bitcoin, but it does take longer before it reaches the DeFi projects. It does take longer before it reaches the low market cap projects. So you usually have about a 3 or 4 hour window before you see the ascension of value on those projects once Bitcoin does its thing. So just keep that in mind, folks. Some good advice for you. Nostalgic J coming in with a $20 to make you holler super chat. I love it. We love Nostalgic J in the mix. Nostalgic J in the mix. Woo! Coming in with that 8-bit style Nintendo gaming controller. Sorry. When I was younger, certain kids started calling Nintendo No Friendo, because if you were always spending all your time playing Nintendo, it inferred that you had no friends. I thought No Friendo was pretty funny. Anyway, great to see you, Nostalgic J. Always great to see you in the mix, and thank you for the generous super chat. Honestly, it really does. It really helps out a lot. Did I miss any stories here? I'm just making sure. Oh, I guess I could cover this one too. So Melania Trump is now boosting Bitcoin after previously launching her own NFT platform. Melania Trump expressed her support for Bitcoin during the 13th anniversary of its launch, just weeks after she launched her own NFT endeavor. In a tweet, Mrs. Trump noted that Bitcoin had surpassed $1 trillion in market value, and this is a direct quote from her Twitter account anyway. It's widely reported that Bitcoin's market cap exceeds USD 1 trillion. Today marks the 13th anniversary of Bitcoin Genesis block. Happy anniversary, Satoshi Nakamoto, she said in a tweet. This is particularly interesting for a reason I don't think most people are aware of, is that the former president expressed explicitly that he wasn't a fan of Bitcoin a few times now on like Hannity and shows like this. So this is a sharp departure, right? This is a sharp departure in opinion. This is a sharp departure in perspective on cryptocurrency. Not only on cryptocurrency, but specifically Bitcoin, and seeing his wife fully embrace the NFT scene to the point where she has her own collection that's launching in a matter of mere days now. It makes me wonder how much longer it'll be before Melania's husband gets on board the Bitcoin train. I mean, I feel like it's inevitable at some point, right? So, and it's also interesting to me because I know his son, the junior, is fond of both stonks and cryptocurrency. So it always kind of puzzled me how the Donald is, as we know so far anyway, so anti-Bitcoin. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. 7-1 saying, I got Game Genie from Canada before it was even out in the US. The neighbors freaked out. Oh, Game Genie. I remember the super old school game consoles. Of course, there's Atari. If you want to go way back, you got Atari 2600, and then I think it became Atari like 3200, and it went up to like 5800, something like that. Then there was Intellivision. That boasted at the time to be the one with the best graphics, and then there was ColecoVision, and then there was the Commodore 64, and then there was of course the Sega Genesis, the first Sega Genesis that came out, putting Sonic the Hedgehog on the map, all that sort of stuff. Oh yeah, and I'm sure I'm leaving a couple consoles out. Of course, Nintendo. I remember getting the first Nintendo. It came with a little robot and a gun, a plastic gun for hunting. And I remember being so stoked. That was like, I was just a tiny kid, and getting that for Christmas morning, absolute and total elation. Keith Havens dropping the Pong. If you want to go way back, you got Pong. Pong's actually a lot of fun. Actually, I think that it's surprisingly a lot of fun to play. There's a really cool video by a French pop band called Air. I'm sure a few of you guys have heard of them. It just, AIR. They came out with a brilliant album called Moon Safari in 98 or 99, somewhere around there. And if you can look it up on YouTube, but one of their singles off of there was a song called Kelly Watched the Stars. And the whole video is about these two girls playing this ferocious ping pong match back and forth, but then they intersperse the footage of the ping pong match with footage of Pong, the video game. And I don't know, it's just, I think it was really brilliantly done. Yeah, Duck Hunt, bonk. What's your guys' favorite old school video game? I'm trying to think what some of my favorites were. Of course, I like Super Mario Brothers like anyone else. It's been so long. Galago is also always one of my favorite old school arcade games. Yeah, Duck Hunt was a lot of fun. With that dog that would pop up laughing. Metroid. I remember playing Metroid. I played Metroid a lot as a kid. Keith Haven says Mario Brothers, forget about it. There's also an old school Nintendo game called Rad Racer. Anyone remember Rad Racer? Oh, Defender. Defender was one of the greats as far as playability, like in the arcade for 80s arcade games. I think Defender was an exceptionally fun and well laid out game. I would put Tempest in that same category if any of you guys remember Tempest. Shadow Dancer and Shinobi, nice. That's a very nice pick. Contra, I love it. Alan coming in with the Contra. I remember Contra. Berserker, yes. Humanoid, Intruder, Castlevania, Sega Genesis, mainly fighting games. Castlevania is another classic, another great. I love Castlevania. And Radio Shack is getting involved in crypto. Yeah, Radio Shack is launching again, but be careful, because you know who's spearheading the relaunch of Radio Shack is none other than motivational speaker extraordinaire, Mr. Knowledge himself, Ty Lopez. Yes, Ty Lopez is spearheading the relaunch of Radio Shack. So I'm not so sure how I feel about that. Remember those first YouTube videos, advertisements that put him on the map? He was like, yeah, having a Lamborghini is nice, but you know what's even more important to me than that? Knowledge. Knowledge. Man, some people can be pretty easily wowed. That's all I gotta say. Vegas Dreams, was that a video game? Shadowgate. Anyone remember Gladiator? You're like is on the screen. You're like a gladiator, like this tall, and you had like a shield and a sword. Gladiator was really cool. Blaster Master. E.T. on Atari was the worst game ever. That was awful. The E.T. video game was truly. I don't even know why they bothered with that one. I agree with you. But I really like the OG Sonic the Hedgehog. They did a great job with that. Pitfall. Oh my gosh. You guys are digging deep. These are names of games that I wouldn't have even thought to think of probably for the rest of my life until you brought them back up. But Pitfall, Harry Pitfall. You'd have to jump and you'd have to catch the rope just the right time to go over like the what do you call that? The sand pit. Diamond Freddy says, I love Gladiator. He knows what I'm talking about. You know, there used to be this arcade down the street from me when I was a little kid. It was called it was the perfect name for an arcade. It was called the Lucky... What do you call the treasure that a leprechaun goes after? Oh, Pot of Gold. It was called Pot of Gold. The name of the arcade was Pot of Gold. And they had video games and pinball consoles all up and down this long stretch. And above every single video game was a placard, right? And if you got the highest score on that video game, your name, the date, and the score would go above that video game. So you were like the man, right? You're the man if you made that happen. Frogger. Frogger can be fun. I think Frogger was my mom's favorite video game. Paperboy I liked, but I never could get the hang of it. It was really hard. Same with Joust. I like Joust too, but it was always really hard for me to get the hang of that. But Paperboy even more so. That was a hard game. You know what else was really hard too was the first cartoon game, Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayer was a pretty hard game to play. Yeah. We have a Retron 5, but original consoles still way better. Yes. A big agree. The Doc King of Kong is awesome. Great documentary. I haven't seen that in years, but yeah, I agree. It's super well done. Blades of Steel. I like the way it sounds. Guys. GoldenEye. Yeah, I remember GoldenEye, the video game. That was Nintendo, right? Space Invaders. Bum 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 bum, and you're just the Space Invaders is actually pretty hard. I never recall getting past like the third board on Space Invaders. Double Dragon was great. Yep, Double Dragon was great. Double Dragon was awesome. I thought the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game was awesome. So was... There's a 4-up player game in the arcade called Gauntlet. Gauntlet was awesome. You could be the wizard. You could be the bow and arrow guy. You could be an elf. Or the warrior. And if you ran out low on food, the game would say, "Warrior needs food badly." Oh man, we really covered a lot on the old school video games tonight. We really covered a lot, you guys. Street Fighter, yes. Actually, you know what's surprisingly good is the Street Fighter movie. I don't know how many of you seen it, but I thought they did a pretty good job with that. How many hours and quarters spent on Double Dragon? No kidding. Altered Beast. Yes, Altered Beast. Good one. Oh, man. You guys going deep, man. Contra. Yeah, someone else said Contra, too. Contra was great. Jason Hubbard coming in with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Jason. This is taking me down memory lane. I love it. Yeah, there's so... It just goes to show how many greats there were. You know what I've always found a very nerve-wracking game to play was Burger Time. It's a deceivingly difficult game. I drank many cases of Mountain Dew with my friends playing these games. Yes. Do the do. Jolt. Maybe even drink Jolt. Jolt was a very dangerous soda. Jolt was like the first super high octane, high sugar, extra high caffeine soda. Do you remember Atari bootleg games? Porky's, Clusters, Last Revenge? No, you went extra deep there, Keith. You went extra deep there. I don't even know, man. Surge. Oh yeah, Surge. Surge was like Mountain Dew except way more caffeine, even more than Mountain Dew. Oh, those wild guys. Wild. Yeah, Jolt. Jolt Cola. Dude, Jolt Cola will land you in the ER. You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful. I could only find Jolt in the Midwest, drove across 3 states on Jolt. Yeah. Yeah, Jolt will keep you up for an entire week. Yeah, Jolt was like 4 Loko before 4 Loko. Cubert. I can't believe someone didn't mention Cubert before. Good one, Jason Huffman. Cubert was classic 80s video game. And then he'd swear when he got pounced on. He'd go blah, 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 blah. Game Shark. Yes, Wings. Remember 1943? That was pretty good. 1943. There's also one called Time Cops or something like that. The name's elude me. Time something. Porky's the movie trying to get to that shower in the video game. I didn't know there was a Porky's video game. That's hilarious. 7-1 says you could literally drop your Game Boy down a flight of stairs that wouldn't have scratch. Yeah, those old Game Boys were built to last, weren't they? Built to last. Yeah, 1943 was cool. And then there was Tron. Tron was pretty difficult after the first few rounds. Kirby, oh my gosh, you guys. You guys are wildin'. You guys are wildin'. Mega Man. Yes, I remember Mega Man. Skate or Die. Yes, I remember Skate or Die. Skate or Die was great. I was actually really good at Skate or Die. Particularly the half pipe. Crazy Climber. Truck on the Day coming with the Crazy Climber. I'm probably one of the few people in the world that knows what Crazy Climber is. You'd have 2 joysticks on Crazy Climber and you have to go in order to have your guy scale the sides of buildings like this. And then people try to throw like plants, potted plants at you. And then if you wouldn't move, the Crazy Climber guy would yell at you. He'd say, go for it. Go for it. Narc was awesome. Ratcoin. I remember a while ago, people would ask Matt Wallace about Ratcoin on his stream, and he'd be like, I hate Ratcoin. All right, guys, well, I'm going to wind this stream down. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in tonight. This was a lot of fun, wasn't it? I'm so glad. And I'm glad to be doing nights again. I'm probably going to be taking predominantly a break from the day shows. There just doesn't seem to be too strong of a demand there at this time, so we're just going to stick with the night shows for the time being for now, guys. But this was a blast. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. You are all special and awesome. This was a lot of fun. But I will try to make it on tomorrow night, so make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you got the notification bell set on all so you know the next time we do it to it. Anyway, guys, that's all I got from now. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much for your continued support. Until next time, Mr. Man, Real Deal, Steele, signing out.